Hello, this is Nitin Dahad with the Times at Hardware Pioneers Max 2025 in London. And I'm speaking now to Vinka Giesman, who's the CEO and co-founder of the Things Industries. Vinka, hello.
Hi, Nitin.
How are you doing?
Very good. This is a great show. It's very vibrant, and it's really great to be here.
It's part of, I think, you've been building an ecosystem for a while now for your business around enabling the IoT, and we're going to have a discussion about how do people actually make IoT scale into a viable business and make money. But before we do that, just tell us a little bit about Things Industries. You started about 10 years ago. What's the premise of your sort of business?
So what we do as a business is we provide network management software for LoRaWAN networks. So LoRaWAN networks are low power sensor networks where you have a little sensor that can last in a battery for 5 to 10 years. A simple gateway and then a cloud services to make sure that that data is securely routed to an enterprise application. And our software around the world supports now around 3 million devices in more than 80 countries. And it's growing at a very decent pace. So our device count is growing at a 40% year on year, and our revenue is growing at a 30% year on year.
So you're selling the network services, but the people get the components from your ecosystem partners. Is that right? And the big boards and the solutions.
Yeah. So
people like Microchip and various other people. Yeah.
Indeed. So kind of like when we started 10 years ago, we literally saw that the IoT game is a fragmented market. Not only across verticals, but also geographically, and it takes a lot of different vendors to build such a solution. So we focused on the network management software in the cloud, but we have all kinds of partners that make off-the-shelf devices, IoT gateways, sensors, components, etc. Yeah.
I think key people in your ecosystem are people like Microchip, Semtech.
Yeah, Microchip, Semtech, ST. You have a lot of module makers like Murata, Rock Wireless, Seed Studio. So it's a very diverse ecosystem, and that's needed to offer products in a very diverse end user market like IoT.
And I mean, a lot of what we see here at Hardware Pioneers is around. I mean, I look at secure end-to-end IoT, IoT solutions. What do you think of what we see here and how that plugs into what you're doing?
Yeah, so this is the IoT and hardware market. The IoT market by nature is fragmented, so you need a lot of systems integrators, a lot of companies that tailor kind of these connected and digital products to very specific needs and problems, and that's why you see this diversity of companies.
What is it that you think? I mean, I know I've attended some of your events where you've had keynote speakers talk about the fragmentation in IoT, but where are you seeing the big growth right now, and where are the opportunities? If I was a IoT module maker, what should I be looking at?
Yeah, so if you're an IoT module maker or solution maker, of course, as we say, it's very fragmented, but what's really on the rise is private networks in shops, facility management, agriculture, commercial buildings, etc. And kind of what they all have in common is that you set up, in our case, a little LoRaWAN network with a simple gateway, and you can get off-the-shelf devices to build your solution. And for instance, in restaurants, it's like cold chain monitoring. They put in a temperature sensor in a fridge, and then through streaming that data, you can generate food compliance reports. Or in buildings, additional sub-metering, condition monitoring per room, kind of like getting more fine-grained data out of your operations. And really specifically saying this vertical, that's what you should go after. But I think the good news is that all the technologies over the last 10 years in the LoRaWAN ecosystem, all these components have matured, become more interoperable, and it's never been as easy as today to build your sensor IoT solution.
And plug and play, I guess, or not
yeah,
quite?
So plug and play for me is really a term that is in the hype, or it creates hypes, because it's never really true.
Okay, there's a lot of software development and and so
No,
solution building.
that's also not true.
Okay.
So it's not a lot of software development, but you see technologies converging where we have components that are much more interoperable.
Okay.
And then you see that the low code, no code kind of era that comes from the cloud and the IT worlds, that's coming together, which I wouldn't say plug and play, but I think it's order of magnitude easier and less risky than it was last year and the year before and the year before.
Okay, and I mean, I don't know if you can say, but so how have you grown? What's been the source of your growth? I know you're sort of like the single-digit million revenue right now in terms of dollars.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess you have great ambitions. Where's that path going?
Yeah. So where we come from is that we believed that we first needed to build a developer ecosystem, which now grown out to 240,000 IoT developers across the world, where we have a platform where they can play around with our technology without kind of like anything that's holding them back. And that's what we, in our strategy, company strategy, what we go over, where our customers and users and partners can go from 0 to 1. So that is really set. We are now 240,000. We have a big event every year in Amsterdam. Then the second part of our business is the commercial business, is the Things Industries, where we take people from 1 to 1 million. And where over the last few years you saw certain segments or certain business problems being solved with our technology, went from a few hundred, a few thousand, a few tens of thousands, a few hundreds of thousands. And that progression, that's really fascinating to see. So we grow as a company, not only because we acquire a lot of new customers every year, but also because our customers grow. And every time, kind of like I see, every week I'm still amazed by what kind of business cases are driven by using our technology. And also I'm also many times surprised if I see kind of like somebody working on a solution. It's like, why don't you have 10 competitors, or why don't you 10x this? There's no reason why what you're doing works with 10,000 shouldn't work with
if
a million.
I understand that right there, so you see somebody doing a water meter application in the UK, for example,
instance, yeah.
but you're struggling to understand why they can't scale that up. Is that right?
Yeah. So I hope that we and I as a company are experts in this field, because we've seen so many failure also over the last 10 years. And then if you see success, you say, and this is a bit of the paradox that the IoT business had, is that only 10% of the initiatives succeed, but the 10% that succeeds far outperforms the expectations. So this is really kind of the risk dynamics that it has.
And what are the big challenges for growth then, for both you and your customers in IoT? I think one of the things you talked about is making that whole sort of sequence, from the solution, the total cost of ownership to return on investment.
Yeah. So I think before that is imagination.
Okay.
So what I'm saying, like, I cannot imagine sometimes, like, why isn't this 10 times, 100 times bigger? So I think that what we're trying to do is share these stories as much as we can, of course. The other part is that because people over the last 10 years had this trouble to imagine these business cases, to imagine the ROI, which now it's like everywhere. We see everywhere. We have all kinds of examples on use cases that make a lot of money. So then we went from looking really purely at the component cost, the BOM and like all the little components. Then the industry started to realize that it's gross. And then you look at total cost of ownership. You not only see, okay, like, what does this all cost when I put it together, but what does it cost over 5 years to operate it? And what you now see is that we expect that the average total cost of ownership of a LoRaWAN device over 4 years is around $300. What you now see is that because you have this lifetime of these sensors of 4 years, is that now you see kind of really interesting innovation in energy harvesting and the move towards batteryless sensors, which basically give them an endless lifetime. And
which gives you an even better ROI than even if your TCO is over 4 years, you've got maybe 5, 7, 10 years. Whatever.
So basically, let's say that your total cost of ownership is $300 for 4 years. Then that TCO stays the same.
Yeah.
But the lifetime to leverage that investment is 10 years.
It's like my dad in 1982 put in solar panels. It was 5 years to repay, but now it's paying
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah.
No, so almost it becomes a true capex investment, and it almost becomes infrastructure. So, and if in like 4 to 5 years people realize that, then investing in IoT will be such a no-brainer. Because
people. I mean, your focus is like building solutions around the LoRaWAN network. Are you going to sort of expand to having other connectivity solutions, or is it focused on LoRaWAN?
So we focus purely on LoRaWAN.
Okay.
It's also because all the puzzle pieces by itself are very hard.
Okay.
And we as a company believe in focus and just doing one thing. And I think we set the kind of objective to become world champion in doing LoRaWAN, and yeah, we're managing and
Okay.
and we're reaching that. So yeah, for us it's not. But if you have a LoRaWAN solution, probably in that solution there's at least 10 other IoT technologies. So we have never been from the school or from the side
it's not
of
a single. Yeah.
like
solution.
there's no superior technology.
Exactly,
This
yeah.
is like, and technology ideology is it's a marketing or investor-driven
got it, yeah.
narrative.
It's the same on the chip side, yeah, where you're putting multiple architectures into a system solution or SoC.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of like, and it's never been from an end user. A technology ideology is never benefiting an end user.
Okay.
The end user needs to be serviced with the technology that.
So, I mean,
Fits best.
immediate sort of future, what are we going to see from Things Industries and Vinca?
Yeah, so what you'll see kind of continuous growth. We've grown our company the last 3 years around 30% year on year. We have a very strong product leadership strategy where we're improving the product, and it is literally a lot of small things that make sure that it's easier to build your solution,
Okay.
but also to make sure that there's very little reason to be awake at night when your solution is in operations. And that, and then we'll keep continuing on that. We are not an aggressively kind of VC-backed company. So also, we have a long-term vision like a lot of our customers, because we have customers that depend on us for the next 10 years that we're going to support the services. So yeah, just keeping strong.
Well, Vinca, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.